השם מלכו ונושבו חדיש יומנו יומנו כקדם השיבנו השם מלכו ונושבו.
Hello everyone, we've reached the finale of standing up for the Torah. And of course, if we dealt with the Torah in the Ark and we dealt with the Torah on the Bima, this series would not be complete if we don't deal with actually standing up for the Torah. The Gemara in Kiddushin, Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Bet, seems to say that this is obvious. A question was asked in the study hall. Ma'olamot b'pnei Sefer Torah, do you have to stand up for a Sefer Torah? And the various rabbis all said, Kal v'chomer, namely, it's obvious. B'pnei lomdei omdim, mipanei lo kol shekain. If you stand up for Torah scholars, all the more so for the Torah they learn, namely the Torah scroll itself. So in a responsum, the Rashba indeed says, Kol shemotzim sefer Torah min ha'heichal. Every time you take out the Torah from the Ark, Ad shema'alin oto laduchan, until you put it on the Bima, omdim ha'kahal al-omdam, everyone has to stand up. And he said a new custom started, that even when you do Hagba, sheshliach hatzibur zakfo u'mareh haktav la'am, we also stand up because the Torah is on the move, so to speak. It's turning around. And from this perspective, and this is the way the Shulchan Aruch paskins, our Sefer Torah Keshuva Alech Hayav La'amod Lefanav, when you see a Sefer Torah mobile, you must stand, v'yekol ha'omdim, ad she'amod zeh shemolichenu v'yege'enu limkomo, o ad she'itkaseh me'eineihem. And you must stand until it gets to its rightful place, say on the Bima, or until you can't see it anymore. From this perspective, anytime you see a Torah not stationary but mobile, be it in an airport, be it in shul, you have to stand until it's put down or until you can't see it anymore. It's no surprise that anytime the Torah moves, as the Rashba says and as the Pri Megadim echoes, B'Sefer Torah b'yad ha'chazan shemolichao ala bima laharot ha'ktav o omer yahalalu, be it bringing back the Sefer Torah when you say yahalalu, be it Hagba, you must stand. Based on this, do you need to stand when it's on the Bima? Of course not, because it's not mobile, it's stationary, and that's the Ramah Paskin, Sefer Torah ala Bima, and Tzibush bebet HaKnesset tzrichim la'amod, ha'sefer b'reshut acheret. Not only is it a different domain, it's also not mobile. However, the Achronim have a difference of opinion. Which part of the Ramah is the most important? The Taz, as we learned many times, said that since the Bima is Yutvachim, or by 4, that's reason for you not to stand. Reshut b'fnei atzmo she'en tzrichim la'amod. So too when it's in the Aron Kodesh, it's in a different domain for that same reason. The Pri Megadim, on the other hand, says that even if it's in the same Reshut, and even if the Bima's on the floor, meaning you don't have to go up a ramp to get to it, still, ein tzarich la'amod mipanav afilu b'reshut achat mamash, kol she'omed sham bimkomo, hara'ui lo likrot b'Torah. Once it's not mobile, you do not need to stand. But the common denominator between these two opinions, of course, is when the Sefer Torah is in the Ark, and you open the Ark, you open the curtain, you definitely don't have to stand. First of all, it's in a different domain, and second of all, it's not mobile, but stationary. And this is the way they both say it. The Taz says it, and he says that Bisman Sefer Torah munach ba'aron hakodesh, you do not have to stand. And of course, the Pri Megadim says exactly the same thing, as does the Mishnah Berurah. De'ein tzarich la'amod b'pnei Sefer Torah ekesh ha'adam nosa'a, aval keshemunachat b'mkoma ein tzarich. Only mobile, not stationary. However, when you open the Ark, you open the curtain, many people stand. Why? Says the Taz, ha'olam nosim kein derech kavod. It's the honor we show to the Sefer Torah, or as the Sharat Ziyun says, the Mishnah Berurah, ha'olam na'agin b'chol zeh la'asot hidur leTorah v'la'amod. So whether the Torah is in a different domain, or whether because it's not mobile, you do not have to stand when you open the Ark. So therefore, on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, when it's frequent to open the Ark, it's only accustomed to stand. But if you can't, if the fast is too hard on Yom Kippur or your feet hurt, you do not have to. You do have to when the Torah is being moved from Ark to Bima and back, as well as Hagbah. You don't have to when the Torah is on the Bima or in the Ark. If you do stand when you open the Ark, then it's customary. It is not obligatory. What about a kel malay? On the one hand, the Torah is not mobile, it's stationary, but someone's holding it. Well, comes along the Kesef Mishnah and says that you have to stand until you get enulim kumo, you put it at its rightful place. Klomar, the im omed lafush, dino kemahalech me'achar sheno omed derech keva. Since you're only standing there for a kel malay for 2-3 minutes at most, maybe even a minute at the very least, depends if you have a chazan saying kel malay or a layman, you still have to stand. But the Mishnah Bura disagrees based on the Pri Megadim. The Pri Megadim says, Sefer Torah b'yad hachazan k'shamaskir neshamot, ein tzarich la'amod afilu b'reshut achat mamash, and the Mishnah Bura agrees with this point of view, saying that even when someone's holding the Torah during the Haftorah, even though it's not its rightful place, quote unquote, you don't have to stand. In other words, the most important thing is it's stationary. We don't care if it's stationary for 2 seconds or it's stationary in a more permanent way. Suffice it to say, that's the common custom against the Kesef Mishnah, that indeed we don't stand when the Torah is stationary. So, based on this, everyone agrees, if it's mobile, you do have to stand. Therefore, the Aruch HaShulchan says, I don't understand what happens on Simchas Torah during HaKafos. During HaKafos, everybody who doesn't dance sits. He says, Asuli Shevat Shemachsimir Lahechal. The Torahs are constantly being moved around, and you're not allowed to sit until they bring back to the Aron Kodesh. And indeed, the HaKafos can take up to 2 hours, says the Aruch HaShulchan. And indeed, he says, I find no justification. The Beit Shemsavavim in Sefer Torah Sviva Bima, Mechuyavim Lahamod, Tezel Kama Sefer Torah Veret. Torah is not stationary but mobile. You must stand. And indeed, in the book about Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky called Rav Yaakov, put out by Art Scroll, it says explicitly on page 353, and I quote, and on Simchas Torah, he would not sit, Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, while the Torah scrolls were out of the Ark, unless there was a mechitza, a divider, between himself and the scrolls. So to sum up, we do not have to stand for the Torah unless it's mobile. When it is, you must stand. If it's on the Bima, you do not have to stand. If it's in someone's hand, Anakel Male Machlokes. But when it's mobile like HaKafos, you do have to stand. And to date, I have found no justification to sit, unless, like Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, there's a mechitza between you and the Torah. So indeed, we show great respect to the Torah. Anytime it's on the move, we're on our feet. Anytime it's stationary, we don't have to be on our feet. And there's a common custom to stand even when you open the Ark, but it's only customary if your feet hurt, your back hurts, or the fast is hard on Yom Kippur. As long as the Torahs are not mobile but stationary, you don't have to stand.
Ki heim chayayni ve yoyrech yomayni Yivohem nege yoymam bulaylo Ki heim chayayni ve yoyrech yomayni Yivohem nege yoymam bulaylo